I'm going to show several urban regeneration project cases in Korea. Yeah. So these are going to be explained, but I'd like to make it short. So I am a researcher and I study human rights. At the beginning, I was interested in North Korean human rights issue first, but I changed it into different topic because when I just started to write my thesis, I found that there is so many human rights violation cases in Korea now in urban development sites. So, but the total demolition and forced evictions. So, I decided to write about Right to the City in Seoul, in Urban Regeneration Project. And I worked for an NGO for settlement issues, and yeah, I have involved in many urban regeneration projects in Seoul and in many local rural cities as a practitioner. So these are where I have been in. Those two cuts were taken in Costa Rica. Yeah, there was kind of how do I say? There is a specific zone for the Nicaraguan migrants. So they were living right next to the riverbank. So with the kind of slate housing. But in Costa Rica there is a rainy season. Rain so hard and it's really easily breakable with the hard rain. So they started to participate in the project with the UN Habitat and the University of Costa Rica. So they put together their effort and they made their kind of neighborhood by themselves with the participation. And those are, rest of them are cases of Seoul, Songgukgu area. So I survey and I put the posters like him and I explained in a room like basement of the private house, and I participated in the flea market too with the like collaborating with the residents. Yeah, I have done those kind of work. So we are going to introduce ourselves each other shortly, and yeah, we are going to discuss about this too. Like so like kind of 1 minute introduction of ourselves, and then we're kind of 2 more minutes about your think of those questions. So I would like to ask your name.
Okay, my name is Hayeon Park, and I'm working as a head of community department here at the Resident Association for HaeBangChon, the Urban Regeneration. So that's why I'm attending this class now. And I used to be the fund manager, and I started my career in Samsung Group and worked in Alliance Global Investors as a management as a fixed income fund manager for about 14 years, and then worked in Hanwha Group. But now I have a big interest in these activities, and I was born in this area, and I live about 40 years, and then actually currently I'm living in Mokdong area, but I have a house here, and my mother is still living. And nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And what do you think about community?
In terms of community, let me start a very simple one. We need a common place, a community, and probably common value or common experience. cooperation, community. When I think about the community, I almost always get that word. What about others?
Yes. Okay. And Rob?
Okay. My name is Rob Hernandez, or Roberto. I'm from the U.S. I came here in 2010. It was my first time traveling anywhere. So my first time on a plane or anything like that was coming to Korea. And I really enjoyed it here, so I stayed. I work at Sungkil University in Anyang. I live in this neighborhood because I think it's more comfortable. Trying to think what else. I am an English instructor, but I studied political science. I'm also a maker. So, and I am a maker resident at Fab Lab Seoul at Seoul Sangak. And yeah, community. I think that there are communities in this neighborhood, but they're all divided. You have a big difference between, you know, people who are new to the neighborhood, people who've been here a long time. The foreigners, we mostly know each other, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. I walk down the street and I see 10, 15, 20 people I know just going home. I think there's a divide, like when I talk to my Korean friends, they go to different places in this neighborhood, they do different things, so I think the communities are very disconnected.
So you mean even though we live in the same area,
No.
there are several communities, sub-community,
Right,
and they are not well connected.
right.
What's that?
My name is Victor Charapina. I know it's hard to pronounce. I'm originally from Croatia or Croatia. I came to Korea on my vacation and I decided to stay. It's been now a little bit more than 2 years, and I moved recently to this neighborhood, let's see, 6, 7, almost 8 months ago. I used to live in Itaewon. Was quite nice, but I'm finding this area more I don't know, cozy. I live here like just a few minutes away, and on my way I have a few friends, some of their co-workers that I meet. Mainly I know all the foreigners in my street, so I don't know, because I see them every morning and I communicate with them. There are a few elder people which I don't know, but I say good morning and good evening to them every day. I also do, as he does in Fab Lab community, also maker. And what else I need to say? Yeah, mainly I hang around with foreigner friends. That's it.
Nice. My name is Eunha, and I'm not from this neighborhood. I actually have no attachment at all. I just come here. I seldom come in HaeBangChon just to visit some of the famous 맛집, if you know what it means. Yeah, and yeah, so I actually live in Bangidong, which is near Jamsil area, Olympic Park. So yeah, and about community, I think when I hear the word community, it comes to my mind more like it has to be some interaction. Yeah, but I don't have any memory about having neighborhood. I mean, there are neighborhoods, they exist, but there wasn't much interaction that I can recall. So yeah, that's what I can say. Jake, do you have anything in your mind, or you would like to say something?
Yes, I'm Jake. I'm working at here since this March. So I think communities start with just say hello in the street. So I came from rural area, from 6.5 hours from Seoul.
Oh wow.
So like country, but 10 years ago I went up this Seoul. So because when I was childhood, I don't know the neighborhood is or community is important. I don't know about that, but in the urban area, I sometimes feel the loneliness and yeah. So I thought community in city can be possible. So maybe 5 years ago, so I quit the job and I opened a small coffee shop. So I met a lot of people and I like to speak to them. So this is important in this century. Yeah. Yeah. And HaeBangChon is a very interesting area. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm going to show this why community building is important now in these days in Seoul. Yes, have you heard of 이불 밖은 위험해 in Korean? It's, in English, it's dangerous outside of the blanket. So yeah, I think you have.
How do you say like living under the glass, like glass bell?
Is there any expression in your home?
Like being like I don't know if it's related, kind of like if your parents like constantly keep you in a house and you're not socializing because they constantly think you're gonna get hurt or something like being constantly protected,
Yes.
like getting out of the comfort zone, just getting familiar with the environment, people around it.
True. Yes. So I think we have two kind of options in our life. So if you have it, like everything, every resources around you in your home, so you don't need to go out, and you can just keep inside of the blanket. But if not, you should go out and interact with somebody else. Is it? Do you think so? So it's unavoidable in a way to cooperate with the others. So this is the one thing, and so these days the city life is more lonely, as he just said, and you have many friends or acquaintances around your community, as you said, but in like others, I have never talked to. Even I work with in the neighborhood with the community, in my working place, in my working site, but at home, I don't really connect with my neighbors in my town, so it's very ridiculous. But for the sustainability and then security reason, for example, it's really like extreme case. My, for example, if my kid is going to be kidnapped, and the neighbor knows his face, and the person is not his parents, then they will notice and will do some actions. But if they don't know each other, maybe somebody is taking him. So, security reason and resilience reason and sustainability reason and livability reason, and with the many reasons, it's really getting important these days. And so why does it matter? It's the lonely and it's alone dying. I don't know exact the term for dying alone. So they are going to be found like 6 months later after they died.
Because nobody was
connected with them. So it's really happening around in Korea. So there was about 1,008 South Korean died alone in 2014, and there are many cases too. So it's going to be very important. And this is really funny cartoon.
But it's true.
Yes. So in English there is a expression, it's none of your business. It's none of my business. So do you think it's none of your business when you look at the fire burning? So what if like this? So you're not gonna...
And I'm gonna yell like, your fire is going on my house.
Yes, so it's not gonna be ignorable. So the Seoul city, the Seoul metropolitan government, they noticed that this community activity and community building is very important in our society. So they started 마을 만들기 지원센터, which means 마을 community supporting center in Seoul. So every district except Gangnam-gu, maybe some other district, mostly they have maybe 중구, do they have 마을 만들기 지원센터? 중구 마을 만들기 지원센터?
서울?
네, 중구.
중구?
여기 중구 아니에요? 용산구?
용산구.
용산구 마을 만들기 지원센터.
뭐 사회적 경제 좀.
So
용산 district.
용산구 district, they also have a community building supporting center. But they social economics too. So they take care of the community building. But after the community has been built, so the people started to would like to be independent, like economically. So they would like to make some of their money, and they would like to spend their own money for their sustainability. So the community supporting center, they take care of the organizing community and raising the community power, the enlightenment and educations, and also they consult their social economics too. So these are what they are kind of in many districts in Seoul. They do village media and art creation space and safe village and shopping community. It's kind of cooperatives, and they do village business and they support verticulture villages too. So one of my friends, he's from Slovenia. He's living in Songpagu. So he Sachobu. So his wife is Korean. So she applied for her program to raising their kids in the forest education. It's kind of famous in Korea now. The forest.
It's European thing.
Yeah, sure. So they applied for the program and they got kind of budget, like little micro budget. And then their community, what like 5 people get together, they give them kind of small investment for raising the community getting bigger. But they got to fight, sometime. So it broke. So it's really important to support the community too, again. So those pictures, those photos are from this HaeBangChon, according to the internet, because I found them on internet. So there is a 빈방?
빈가게.
I don't know actually what it is, but it's kind of a little library activities, and they share their time together, and they play sometimes music together. And the left one is what is this? Destination chat room. 뭐였더라? 그 종점 수다방이었어요. 네. So they make radio.
용산 FM now. 용산 FM.
Radio broadcasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
For this community. And that was instructing how they restored the houses, the old houses, in HaeBangChon. Those are the cases of HaeBangChon.
Maybe there is a 신흥 market under the 신흥 market, the public space. Yes.
Yes. So urban regeneration, I use this kind of infographic really much when I explain about urban regeneration, because it's really distinguishable with the previous method. In Korea, there have been many new town projects. Have you heard of a new town in Seoul? It means it's kind of, we say it's redevelopment project. So they destroy all the neighborhood and they evict the people who reside there, and with the compensation, of course. So, but still there are many human rights violations, because partly there must be the people who don't want to go away. So I felt it's kind of violent, but still it happened. But there was another kind of tipping point when we decided into the urban regeneration, and so urban regeneration at that moment, before the urban regeneration, they didn't collect the ideas by the resident. They just got the agreement to sign or stamps by the landlord, not the tenant. So more than 80% of agreement, they got into be able to make the union to make the apartment complex. So they used to build the apartment complex. But the difference, the significant difference with the urban regeneration is urban regeneration promotes the participation, and they get the ideas by the resident. Who owns the owns the property or not. So you can still do you own your
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes. So participatory planning. So is it more reasonable, do you think?
Like, what do you mean, like having everyone involved in that process? Like you're
Yeah.
saying?
Cause and let's see. So they in the participation, there must be different ideas, and when they get into conflict, and majority, we will vote for the majority ideas, right? And majority decides. Do you agree with that? Is it democratic in a way?
I mean,
Depends against
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, like especially in a neighborhood like this, the majority might not have the best interests
Yeah,
of the
sure.
community in
Yeah.
mind.
It could be. And yeah, I will show you this. So what about this? Have anyone participated who represent your idea or your need in this HaeBangChon planning?
I wouldn't know.
So you came here first time today, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you might not participated before.
Right.
So that was the first reason why you should be here for the participation. And then the second reason is this. So who is responsible for maintaining this environment? So this is the case of like everywhere. In Korea there are so many mural like streets. But it's in Ihwa Maul. Do you know Ihwa Maul? It's close to Naksan Gongwon. 대학로.
Yeah.
So there was this big murals in 2006. It was new. Of course, it was very beautiful at the time, and it became worn out in 2014. And who should be responsible for this? What do you think? Who should be responsible for this?
Hopefully community.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'll see. And there is a haunted house in your community, for example, and the community or neighbors, they start to clean around there. And you know, if there is a haunted house in your community or in many places, commonly the cats are getting in. Kids are getting in, and they make babies, and so all around the like neighborhoods are getting noise, yeah, with the wildcats. And yeah, so in a way, it's getting noise. Yeah, so if it is taken care, like if they take care of their community with the like cleaning and making environment better, it's the first option. And second one is they call to the like make a complaint to city hall or district office. Oh, there's some house really bad in our community, and you should clean this out. Then the community, like it's not community, the public office,
or whoever.
yeah, city, whoever, like government, they will report that first, and they will get the kind of permission, what the the process, in a bureaucratic way, and it takes very long, and they should they should make the budget for it, and they should appoint the person who is going to take care about it, and then finally they will clean those kind of things. So which is faster and which is easier, do you think? It's it's difficult,
I
right?
mean, like people doing it is great, but they don't always have the resources too.
True.
And again, like you can for example start taking care of the house, and then some relative or someone gonna come and claim, oh, that's my house, leave it alone.
Oh, that's true. It happens in Korea a lot. In rural area, it's very serious problem these days. But I heard that in the States, they also leave their house vacant for a long time. They have to pay for the fine. That's what I heard. But in Korea, it's not. They can just vacant it and leave it alone without any taking, like just caring.
In most of the European countries, if the house is abandoned for more than 6 months, if someone moves in, he can claim rights to it.
Yeah. Because it makes very like how do I say, dangerous
I mean, like,
like
it's like,
space in a way.
I don't know how it's here, but for example, for Europe, these kind of places, these kind of houses always are like a breeding place for squatters, for
yeah, true.
homeless people, for I don't know, like usually people go in the houses to just get drugs, get
Yeah.
like something alcoholic. So that's the thing. And again, if it's in a community, if you have a kids or whoever there is, then again the whole place becomes unsafe for the children and
True.
so on and so on. And
So it happens like it happens in Europe and the States, but it's not really commonly happen in Korea. I think that's why.
Which is good.
Yeah, so they abandon it. In a specific case where I came from, the city in the south, and there was a urban regeneration project too in the city. So many people who got interest by the project in Jeonju or some previous cases in cities. So they first bought kind of housing and property first, and they just left it, and the price became higher with the project plan. So they resold it, then they got interest. So they try it again into my city. So they just leave the houses without any reconstruction and remodeling, and just it's abandoned the houses. So in my city, in the city center, it's really like there are so many abandoned houses.
ghost town.
Oh, yeah, it's really very bad. So I feel really bad. So there was a movement with the community members in the city. So they started to clean around the house. So it's previous way, and currently they promote this because without regardless of human rights issues, the apartment building, building apartment complex is not going to be beneficial anymore because people are not affordable for it. So after the recession, in a way, recession, and people were not able to buy the apartment room, and it's not going to be sold by anyone. So they just stopped to build new apartment buildings. So, but still there are many declined area in the city. Like I don't want to say HaeBangChon is like that, but there are so many declined area around Seoul. You saw. So they tried to improve the built environment, like infrastructures and parking spaces, and like planting. So I'd like to talk about the case of 성북구 장수마을. It's really famous case because 장수마을 is right next to the 한양도성. Do you know 한양도성? City wall of the Seoul. So it's right next to the historical heritage. So there is a limitation to develop. So they cannot build more than second store. So although the building is really like almost going to be destroyed, they are not going to be able to rebuild it. Because if they would like to rebuild it, they should make put more money. But to rent their houses to repay their loan or whatever, then they have to build like higher stories. But they couldn't with the limitation. So they were just stopped in the town. So they started to the activist with the housing, welfare, and architects, and some researchers and public officers. They put together their own like private time, and they put together their effort. So they collected ideas by the residents, and it was kind of very voluntarily started. So in the end, they remodeled the old house into the social housing, and they changed their garbage space into their resting space, and they made the old housing into their community cafe. So it's you can see the before and after, before and after.
Okay, relax.
So really, the most impressive thing in Jansu-maul was there are many people who used to work for construction sites with the skills, but they are not going to be working in like professional apartment building sites anymore because they are like old and like so. What they could do with this kind of small project, so they started their 마을 기업, which is a village enterprise with those labor force. So they started run their how do I say, the construction office with the neighbors. So they can get the like payment with and they are really credible because I can ask the repairment very easily right next to me. If the person is residing or working really remotely the place, you're not gonna be able to, or it's really difficult to let him come to fix it. So. And they started to do those kind of community activities, watching the movie together at around the street. And the 할머니es, the grannies, they started to their own activities, and they started to make the products together with the art craft, with kind of really small wooden sticks. And they dye it with the natural color, and they make some kind of form or cute accessories with them. So they sold it, and there was a really funny story. The instructor, who was very professional, she was selling the stuffs in Insadong, but grannies became more professional than she did. So grannies tried to sell it very in a kind of cheap price, but the person didn't allow them to sell in a cheap price because it's not compatible. And this is the case of Masan. It's done like in 2012 and 2011, and there were so many vacant stores because the rent was so high, but people are not getting enough money with the managing their business in those sites. So they started to get into the project, and the project researchers, they got kind of agreement with by the property owners with the trust. So they made kind of promise, and which is called the MOU. So they promised not to increase their rent for 10 years. And they started to rent it in like 10% or 50% of the previous rent. So they became very revitalized. So these are cases of Korea, and there are so many cases, but the professionals or the practitioners, they often say there are successful cases in urban regeneration, but I think there's no successful cases. The case, what you like, and what the residents like, that is the best case. So you should not copy those kind of methods. So you should take your own project. So I'd like to introduce how and what Urban Regeneration Supporting Center work. The public, they set the budget, and they kind of could make the ordinances code to let them help more like promote them work together. And engineers, they draw the designs, and residents, it's really important part, they put they show their ideas and needs, and in the end, as I talked about, the maintenance is really important for the sustainable environment here. But Urban Regeneration Supporting Center is coordinating those kind of parts first, and they support the residents first. They like promote them participate, and if they need some kind of education, they make the programs. So if you would like to know about urban regeneration more, you can suggest the program to him or whoever working
This center.
here. Or if you need kind of, I would like to know how to make the posters, like the put on the wall, or I'd like to know how to manage social enterprise, and they are going to organize the program to help you. So this is fixed, 맞죠? 확정된 거죠?
네.
Fixed plan in HaeBangChon. So it's in Korean though. So yeah, let's see. What is important for you?
Residents empowerment, support, or this building.
This building is going to be a community center, so it's going to be
Remodeled.
remodeled.
Only next year.
It starts
About
next year.
5 months. It will take 5 or 6 months.
So if to manage the community center, the community committee, they're going to organize a program, or they have to make the money to maintain this building too.
After remodeling, like that.
So after remodeling, the building is going to be like that, and there are many functions. Functions are also fixed. What the collecting the ideas by the residents last year, and I heard that there is a 공부방, which is a study room, so you could share your own like native languages, or you can like organize whatever you want. And then yeah, 그리고 또 다른 용도 뭐 있어?
뭐 있을까?
공부방 하고?
The study room is not fixed because the very close from here the
There is another
library.
공부방.
just 3 minutes from here. So we had just surveyed the people's opinion, but the detailed program it will be fixed after.
Actually, in other cases in Seoul, they do really detailed plan for the function, because they should function like they should make very fixed plan for the community center. Because in like where I have worked, because people, the residents committee, they should make money. They should make money for maintaining this building by themselves. So they should more like collaborate, and they should
Benefit.
make the money. Because if somebody is working for the community center, they have to pay for the salaries too.
For example, the public restaurant, yeah, the cafe, coffee shop, or other things.
So in many ma을, which means village in Korea, and in many ma을s in Seoul, around Seoul, in many like nationwide, they have ma을 cafe. Because coffee is easy to make, and yeah, it's very profitable, you know.
And public kitchen, yeah, other things.
Yeah. So I'm not sure you agree with that. So when you buy the bunch of green onion or whatever, the vegetables, you only cook like tiny part of that, and if you put it in the fridge, and it get very easily bad, but you just to waste it. You don't share with that, so the waste are getting very like bigger, and the money is really to dispose it. It's also getting bigger. So these days they, for the kind of economic reason and ecology reason, they do kind of community kitchens too, some places. So for the tenants, as far as I think, there is a kind of remodeling supporting program. So if you are residing in a house which is not really quite nice, good condition, and you can suggest your landlord to participate in this project. So if they get support, like monetarily support by the government when they do remodel it, and they cannot rise their rent for 6 years after that. So this is nice thing for the tenants. Actually, I have worked in many urban regeneration sites, but tenants are not getting really benefit much. With the program in the community center, they can get benefit, but it's not very it's not very interest for them. But that is very attracting in a way. So I'm suggesting that, and they're going to change the pipes under the water pipes.
Sewage pipes?
Yes.
Definitely.
And there used to be neat. How do I say? It's a sweatshirt, the kind of sweatshirt, but with
knitting.
Knitting industry was very popular in this area. Very declined right now, but they're going to make it very characterize it in this area according to this plan. And
more detailed, I can tell you after that. This.
Yes.
Skip.
Okay, so this is the last slide. So what can we do for making our neighborhood more livable? Yes, thank you. And